ஹார்வர்ட் தமிழ் சேர் உலகம் முழுவதும் உள்ள தமிழர்களுக்கு மத்தியில் பல்வேறு மகிழ்ச்சியையும் பரபரப்பையும் ஏற்படுத்தியுள்ள இந்த ஹார்வர்ட் தமிழ் சேர் ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ஸ்கேம், ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ஒரு மோசடி என்று அமெரிக்க வாழ் தமிழர் ஒருவர் கூறுகிறார். அவர் அவர் மிக சாதாரணமான மனிதரின் கூற்று என்று நம்மால் எடுத்துக்கொள்ள முடியாது. அமெரிக்காவில் உள்ள தலைச்சிறந்த விஞ்ஞானிகளில் ஒருவரும் இமெயிலை கண்டுபிடித்த தமிழருமான திரு சிவா ஐயாதுரை அவர்கள் ஹார்வர்ட் தமிழ் சேர் ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய மோசடி என்று கூறுகிறார். இது பற்றி அவரிடமே நாம் விவாதிப்போம். வணக்கம் சிவா. ஹாய்.
வணக்கம். ஓகே,
நீங்க சொல்றீங்க இந்த தமிழ் சேர் வந்து இட்ஸ் பிக் ஸ்கேம் அப்படின்றீங்க. வாட் மேட் யூ டு சே தட்?
The reason it's a big scam, Felix, is first we need to understand what is Harvard. Right. This is a very, very important question. Throughout the world, everyone thinks Harvard is some great and prestigious institution for research and education. Right. Mm-hmm. That's what you probably believe, and that's what a lot of people believe. Mm-hmm. And the reason people believe this is because this has been part of a active propaganda campaign done by Harvard. Mm-hmm. But when you actually look at what Harvard is, which many of us in Cambridge, I've been in Cambridge since 1981. Mm-hmm. I came here in 1970 as an immigrant. I went to MIT. I've been in this area nearly 36 years, mm-hmm. almost 40 years of my life. Mm-hmm. Did 4 degrees at MIT. So Harvard is right down the street from MIT. So I know what Harvard is. And when you really look at it, and you look at the finances of Harvard, Harvard is fundamentally a hedge fund. Hedge fund, a Wall Street hedge fund. It's an investment fund. It has a university, but that's just a very, very small part of its business. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if you really look at Harvard, $2 billion, maybe $3 billion goes to support the university operation, administration, etc. But the real back end or the front end of Harvard is a $40 billion Wall Street hedge fund. What is a hedge fund? A hedge fund, essentially, you and I can start a hedge fund, Felix. We can take money from other people, and then we invest it in real estate, in stocks and bonds, gold, jewelry, diamonds in Africa, and then we get returns. And those returns go back into the hedge fund. In a typical hedge fund, we would get to keep 20% of the returns, and 80% gets returned to the investors. Do you follow?
Yeah, I do follow.
That's what a hedge fund is.
See, it is not Tamil alone. It's there. Harvard has chairs for various other languages, for Chinese, for Sanskrit, and don't you think this is a pride for Tamils across the globe?
No, it isn't, because it's not a pride, because let me tell you what Harvard does. Again, you have to understand what Harvard is. Otherwise, people are just blindly following, frankly, the white man. This has been inculcated into the Indian psyche since British colonialism, as though anything that's done by the white man is something that's good. And when I mean white man, I don't mean people of color. I mean these big institutions of power, like British colonialism or Harvard University. But Harvard fundamentally is a hedge fund. It's a $40 billion hedge fund. So where does it get its money to invest? Okay. Where does it get that money? Well, it gets its money from tuition, right? Students give money. It gets its money from donors, and it gets its money from very other donors who give money to set up chairs and professorships. All right? Mm-hmm. It gets money from multiple sources. It takes that money, it invests it, it makes billions of dollars. Last year, Harvard made $7 billion in a capital campaign. $7 billion. The Tamil chair is $6 million, which is 0.1%. Okay? Of $7 billion. Harvard could easily write a check for that. But what Harvard does is it takes that money and it spends a substantial portion of it in marketing with their nice Harvard logos, making people believe that they are this great institution for research and education. Like you said, make people think that it's a pride to be part of Harvard. But what Harvard does is it has its intellectuals who, in history and language, anthropology, they actually rewrite history. Okay?
Yeah.
So consider the opportunity, quote unquote opportunity, for our Tamilians. Okay? So here, a bunch of very, very wealthy Tamilians have gone out and created the Harvard Tamil Chair. Why? Because 30% of admissions into Harvard is what is called legacy admissions. Legacy.
From
What that
donors.
means is 30% of people get into Harvard based on not what they've done, but who they know. Okay? So that means if you, for example, Felix, give Harvard, a check for $10 million, I guarantee you and your children will get preferential treatment into admissions. You follow?
Yeah, I do.
So this guy, Johnny Karaman, gave 500,000, right? Kamal Hassan gave 20,000. All of these people, many of them who are not intellectuals, really are not that smart, want to be associated with Harvard because they think it increases their brand value. Do you follow? That's what this is about. So all these celebrities, many of them who are frankly not that smart, right?
You mean to say Kamal Hassan is stupid to fund for the Harvard Tamil Chair?
Oh yeah, he's absolutely stupid. He's absolutely stupid because I know Kamal. I've met with him. Kamal and I have had very deep conversations about oppression, about caste system. Yet, at the end of the day, he looks up to Harvard because he wants to increase his brand equity.
Okay.
Because he thinks Harvard is some great institution. Kamal has no idea what Harvard is, and he's coming to the Tamil conference tomorrow because he thinks it increases the brand value.
Of Kamal Hassan.
Harvard is a exploitative institution because let me tell you what's going to happen. And you can take this to the bank. This is what Harvard's going to do. They're going to have some, frankly, relative to the scholars of India, an idiot. If you look at this guy, I think Jonathan, I forget his name, Ripley. If you go to the videos, he's teaching.
Yeah, I've seen the video. He's talking about Kai and Pai and Carl and all these. Yeah, I saw the video.
We as brown-skinned people are going to elevate this white-skinned guy as though he's now going to teach us Tamil. Think about that. What that means is a PhD in Madras University or a PhD in Annamalai University in Tamil will be lower than a PhD coming out of Harvard who will be learning in the Kai and the Kai. You follow?
Yeah.
And then they will start rewriting because they will have access to all the palm leaf manuscripts.
That is what I'm going to ask you. You another allegation that you made. All our antiquities, all our artifacts will be accessed by Harvard. What is wrong in it? What is harm in it? And again, my question is: Harvard is technology wise, Harvard is a much more advanced institution than any other institutes.
Why do you say that? Where do you get that?
They produce the maximum.
Where's your allegation about that? You just made a factual statement, Felix.
Yeah.
Saying Harvard is more advanced. Where are you getting that statement? And you're saying other people are not. Why, if that is the case, why are billions of dollars? Why are Americans sending digitization to India? Okay, why is outsourcing taking place in India? That's an absolutely false statement you just made. In fact, it's an ignorant statement. Don't take it personally.
Harvard produces
American Express, Citigroup, the biggest companies in the world are setting up in India to do their digitization, to do their data warehousing, to do their data mining, etc.
It's because here it's
the statement you're making
because
it's a false statement.
Here the manual the labor is so cheap. That's why all the outsourcing processes are happening in India. Let's not talk about that. Let my
No. Not only labor is cheap. The intellectual India produces more engineers. It has massive amount of intellectual talent. So this is what you're diminishing. You see, if you look at the history of India, up until 1800s, the British used to steal shipbuilding blueprints from India.
And you have made another allegation that the Harvard is dominated by Hebrew people, and they will manipulate and rewrite the history of Tamil. That's another allegation that you made.
No, I didn't. So you're making a false statement. So you need to correct that. I didn't say it's owned by Hebrew people. I said that the history is that the Tamil Brahmi script is actually older than the Hebrew script. Okay, and that people will attempt, chauvinists, not Hebrew people, but chauvinists who will try to show the preeminence of the Hebrew script as older than the Tamil Brahmi script, when the Tamil Brahmi script is actually older. That's the point that I've made. You see, it's pretty much well known that the Tamil language is probably the oldest language in the world. The civilization is probably the oldest civilization. But organizations like Harvard like to own history. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
They like to be the people who give the rubber stamp on what is true history and what is alleged history. So, for example, Tamil, Siddha, Vaidyam, all those things actually are together. They're not split, right? The Tamil language and the origin of Siddha medicine and the lifestyle culturally all come together. It would be very easy for Harvard. Now they can say, oh, we have the Tamil chair. We are the experts in Tamil. Do you follow what I'm saying?
True.
Felix?
Yeah.
We are very stupidly, very in an enslaved mind, giving this institution, which actually is not that bright, the right to rewrite our history and give the rubber stamp of approval. This is the stupidity of it. And why is it being done? Because most of these people, the people who are contributing high dollars, want to have affiliation so their children and their grandchildren can get into Harvard. They're literally selling the Tamil people. What's really disgusting is taking 60 cents, 1 rupee from a poor Indian kid in a village who themselves do not have any roofs on their own schools. That's absolutely disgrace. It's a disgraceful. Because Harvard University could all of us know, listening to this, that Tamil is one of the oldest languages on the planet. Harvard, if they cared, would put easily $6 million, which would be 0.1% or 0.01% of their big endowment, and write a check. Why are we around raising money from young kids? Explain that to me. Why is a young kid in India who barely can get enough food, whose parents barely make enough money, sending their dollars to Harvard University? Does that make any sense?
True. And did you speak to any of the fundraiser? Did you try to explain them the hedge fund?
Yeah, you have to understand. A lot of these people are a bunch of stupid doctors. Doctors came to the United States and they made a lot of money doing surgeries. Okay, Janakiraman is frankly just a dumb doctor. Okay, when I called him up, I had 2 people on the phone, my assistant and another person, Arvind Kumar, who has been involved in this for many years. Arvind, in fact, talked to Janakiraman a year ago, and Janakiraman said, yes, please send me your ideas. Arvind sent him a very detailed email saying why he should not do it. When I heard about it, the reason I heard about it is I got a Twitter message from some woman saying, hey, are you going to donate? And when I found out about this, I immediately called Janakiraman with Arvind and Michelle, and I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. You have to understand, I'm a doctor. I don't know a lot. I thought this was the best thing to do. He goes, what should I do? I said, you should stop it immediately. And he said, okay. Mm-hmm. You see, a lot of these people came to America. You can make a lot of money in America doing surgeries, okay? Some of them are unnecessary. That's a different issue.
Okay.
But Janakiraman made a lot of money. He doesn't know what to do with his money. So one of his opportunities is to give it away. But he also, I guarantee you, is seeking benefits out of this. So the issue here is, why are these people giving money to Harvard versus taking that money, and if they truly care about the Tamil language, giving it to a Tamil institute where we as Indians or Tamilians come together? Look, the best software engineers in the world are Tamil software engineers. That's a fact. 40% of Microsoft is Tamilians. Don't you think we could build an amazing digital version of a Tamil university online? Don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Exactly. So why is that not being done? And you have to follow the money. And these people have run a big propaganda campaign. I guarantee you it's quarterback out of Harvard. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I've been in the United States since 1970. I have never seen anything so precisely well organized. I guarantee it wasn't done by these guys. It was organized by Harvard University using these stupid people to tell everyone what a great thing is to bring the Harvard brand.
Okay,
It's prestige for the Tamil people. It's absolutely opening up our gates so they could steal it. Even China, when they set up the Chinese language chair, they imposed strict guidelines on Harvard. They're the ones who are dictating to Harvard who can be a professor. I don't know if you know that. You brought up China. We, on the other hand, these people are literally selling the Tamil people in the Tamil language without any type of constraints. Have you seen any of the contracts? What will be the terms of engagement? Have you?
No, I have not seen.
Exactly. China, the Chinese government imposed very strict constraints. They said, we will run the committee. We will tell you, we will give you the choices of the 3 professors. You see, these Tamilians, or quote-unquote Tamilians, are so excited, because it's a slave mentality, including Kamal Hassan, to be part of this, that they are basically bowing down as they did before. during British colonialism. These people are globalists. They want to be so aligned with Harvard to help their children and their grandchildren. They don't give a damn about the Tamil people.
You have also mentioned one more thing, that it will be a loss for our artifacts, our treasures in terms of palm leaves, writings, and many of our antiquities will be lost, will be stolen by Harvard. Why do you say that? How do you say that?
Look, I don't know if you know, I'm a Fulbright scholar. My Fulbright scholarship was in Siddha and systems biology. So I know a little bit about this. My father is an eminent Tamil scholar. My dad actually started the first Tamil Sangam in New York. You can look it up, Mr. Valleyapayadure. My dad actually led a protest at Harvard, which is also online. So I come from a family which is truly dedicated to the Tamil cause. So when you look at the digitization process, look, everything is digital now, right?
True.
We live in a digital world. When you if you go to Harvard, one of their museums, you try to take a photograph, you know what it says? It says no photographs, right? You go to the museums of Western, no photographs. Yet, these, frankly, very, very stupid people, I in fact want to call them idiots, are giving the rights for digitization of hundreds of thousands of palm leaf manuscripts to Harvard. Do you know what the terms of that agreement are?
No.
Do I know what those terms are? Do the Tamil people know?
I don't think so.
Have we seen the terms of agreement? Look, I do a lot of businesses. When you give intellectual property to another organization, you have a very strict agreement, right?
True.
Where are those agreements, and who is signing off on that? Those palm leaf manuscripts are not the property of the Harvard Tamil Chair. They're the property of the Indian people.
Do you doubt that the copyrights of all these pamphlets and palm leaves and other artifacts will be claimed by Harvard? The copyright will be claimed by Harvard?
I think you're missing the point here, Felix. Here's the point, okay? When you have an institution like Harvard, where you're giving so much pride and joy to, quote unquote, so much respect to, they will take these digitized manuscripts. For example, they could write a journal paper in a history magazine, okay, saying Tamil is not an old language, okay? Or the Siddha medicines are not that advanced. You follow?
True. I follow, yeah.
Now, once that journal paper is written, and they will refer to all these manuscripts, everyone throughout the world will say, oh, Tamil is a garbage language, okay? Because they have that ability, using their stamp of quote-unquote approval, to dictate his history. So thereafter, every other scholar will say, oh, Harvard said Tamil is this. Harvard said Tamil is this. They become what's called the primary source. This is a part in academia that you don't understand, and people need to understand, so I'm trying to educate you here. Primary source citation is how truth is coming. You keep using the word alleged, right?
Yep.
Well, then what is truth? Who is determining truth, Felix? Truth is determined by a small set of scholars, like the old Brahmanical priesthood, okay? A bunch of people get together, they say this is truth, and every other person says that's truth, right? Now we are giving these manuscripts the right to digitize, and more importantly, we as Tamilians are setting up a chair at Harvard, which means we are giving them approval to do that. Do you follow?
True.
So what that means is whatever they write in journals will become the truth. And that truth will become percolated for thousands of years as fact. So when I say, hey, Tamil is the oldest language, you'll say, oh, that's alleged, and you'll say Harvard said blah, 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 blah. You see, that's the way information flows. Academic scholars create truth, and then you guys in the media refer back to academia, and then the masses think, oh, the media told me this, it came from Harvard, therefore it's truth. So this is a very, very incredibly important point that I'm making here. We are literally taking the oldest manuscripts of the Tamil people, their history, and we're telling Harvard, we're giving you rights to determine what's truth here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shiva. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.